Hello folks, welcome back to the UK Agenda.
But to make myself clear, are too late in life to plan for this proposed change. I hope the Minister and the Chair can forgive my emotion when you sit with an elderly farmer and his wife, and with both fighting back the tears, they tell you, if only I could die now, if only there was some kind of pill I could take now so that my children won't have to worry about this. It does have a really profound effect on you. Diolch.
Keir Starmer's government has made a highly controversial decision.
And my thoughts on this topic are well known and are on the record. However, I will speak about mitigations.
Implementing an inheritance tax on farms valued at over £1 million. This move has put countless farming families at risk of losing their land.
So, raise the threshold and actually increase the rate for people like that so that no family farm is affected.
You might already be aware of this. But what's happening now is even more shocking. Several Labour MPs have started rebelling against their own government.
In the general election campaign, Labour leadership promised that if we won, we would step in and save the Grangemouth refinery, retain those jobs and invest in its future. 6 months later, this hasn't happened yet.
They've realised that Starmer isn't governing for the people, and they're becoming increasingly defiant in Parliament. Behind the scenes, some are even considering jumping ship to reform UK.
Now that we are in power, I know that the government should use it to intervene and save the refinery jobs, protect Scotland and deliver on the promise to build Grangemouth for the future. Will the Prime Minister do that?
Amid this growing unrest, one particularly brave MP, Steve Witherden, has broken his silence in Parliament. He launched a scathing attack on Starmer, demanding that the government reverse this decision. What he said took many by surprise. Stay with me until the end to understand why this tax could have devastating consequences for food security and to see the furious reaction of another MP in Scotland.
It's a pleasure to serve under your chairship, Mr Stringer. I congratulate the Right Honourable Member for Keir Starmer for securing this important debate, which is a major concern for many of my constituents in Montgomeryshire and Glyndŵr. Farming is at the heart of Wales' social fabric, playing a vital role in our economy, food security and our stewardship of the beautiful Welsh countryside. On Saturday, I met with representatives from the FUW in Llansilin and NFU Cymru at a farm in Llanerfel to discuss the ongoing challenges that farmers are facing. Farming is currently the least profitable sector of our economy, and changes to APR are having a significant impact on family-run farms. A lifelong farmer in my constituency raised her children on her 220-acre farm. Although considered small, the farm is valued at over £1 million. Her 48-year-old son, who has farmed alongside her since the age of 18, had hoped to take over the farm. His young daughters now share his passion. Sadly, they now face the prospect of losing the farm they have worked so hard for. Now, let me be clear. I support progressive taxation to ensure that the wealthiest pay their fair share towards the upkeep of our society. In the 21st century, we see individual plutocrats and super-wealthy multinationals buying up agricultural land to avoid paying inheritance tax, with no intention of using it for farming. This reduces our farmed land, which we can ill afford when we have a fast-growing population in an unstable world. The proposed changes to APR for farmers come on the back of this and more, and feel like the straw that broke the camel's back, or as we would say in Wales, i'r hoelan olaf yn i'r ach, if the Honourable Member for Keir Starmer can forgive my North East Wales accent. These changes to APR risk having a deeply detrimental effect on working family farms. And what's at stake here? Food security. I have repeatedly spoken in the Chamber about my heartbreaking experiences with hungry children and food banks. In recent years, we have seen something many never thought they'd witness: food scarcity, empty shelves in the supermarkets, and astronomical food price inflation. Mr Stringer, it cannot be understated how that period of food inflation affected the poorest in our country. I won't say more about the proposed APR policy as a whole. Prior to my election in July, I attended 10 hustings. 10 hustings. We do like our hustings in Mid Wales, and my thoughts on this topic are well known and are on the record. However, I will speak about mitigations. Firstly, can I respectfully request that the Minister considers raising the threshold? If this policy is to target those who buy farmland solely to dodge inheritance tax, then let's make it so. Raise the threshold and actually increase the rate for people like that, so that no family farm is affected. Secondly, can I respectfully request, can I implore the Minister to look at an exemption for farmers who, at the risk of sounding macabre, but to make myself clear, are too late in life to plan for this proposed change. I hope the Minister and the Chair can forgive my emotion when you sit with an elderly farmer and his wife, and with both fighting back the tears, they tell you, if only I could die now, if only there was some kind of pill I could take now so that my children won't have to worry about this. It does have a really profound effect on you. Diolch.
And now, with Labour MPs openly rebelling and even considering leaving the party, is Starmer's government starting to crumble? Watch this clip and let me know in the comments what you think.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. In the general election campaign, Labour leadership promised that if we won, we would step in and save the Grangemouth refinery, retain those jobs and invest in its future. 6 months later, this hasn't happened yet. If the refinery closes, then thousands of jobs will be lost and Scotland's national security will become massively weaker. Now that we are in power, I know that the government should use it to intervene and save the refinery jobs, protect Scotland and deliver on the promise to build Grangemouth for the future. Will the Prime Minister do that?
This is a really important point, Mr. Speaker, because
Keir Starmer claims this is such an important issue, yet this very same MP had to raise it again in Parliament. He's clearly growing frustrated with the government's inaction, just like much of the British public. It's becoming increasingly obvious that Labour has its own priorities, and more often than not, the people simply aren't one of them.
before July, there was no plan at all to support the workers at Grangemouth. Within weeks, and importantly, we announced a £100 million deal for a growth deal, and we're jointly funding Project Willow to find a viable long-term future. It is a really serious point. I take it very seriously, and we'll do everything we can to make sure that viable long-term future is there for the workers, for their communities, and all that rely on it.
And here he is once again, calling out his own party's inaction and manipulation.
Why is the government allowing a foreign government and private capital dictate Scotland's industrial capacity, its ability to produce oil and, overall, our national security?
Well, we're not allowing anyone to dictate to us, and I know that the honourable member has been deep in conversation with the Minister for Energy for some time over the future of Grangemouth.
Should Starmer backtrack? And of course, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more analysis.